with good evening, everyone. You're all welcome to this maiden session of the engineers oral CoC preparatory class. Okay. I think for me, more and beyond the orals preparatory, it's more like an online engineering community for for me. It's a place to share ideas, and hopefully help each other out. So so for today, we're just starting with 2 topics. We're going to have our engineers, I call them veterans in this industry, Engineer Briggs and Engineer Obi. So they're going to be talking to us on 2 topics. But before that, we'll have Engr Menyaga talk to us, share some tips on how to survive in this industry. So that will come first. My name is Chigozie Illeka, and I'll be your facilitator for for today. So if I can just go to the next slide. As you can see, I guess can you all hear me, please?
Yes.
Oh, okay, because I'm seeing Captain Tayo. I can see your chat. I think he's asking me to check my speaker settings. So but can you confirm you can hear me now?
Yeah, that's for Engineer Daniel.
Oh, sorry about that. I'm sorry about it. Okay. All right. So so as I was saying, because of the pandemic, so this is becoming like a new normal. Okay. Zoom meetings, Sky meetings, WebEx and all that. So just to go through some important meeting protocols, these Zoom meeting protocols, okay, just for good order sake, let's ensure we have kind of limit all forms of background noise during this session to avoid distraction. You may want to use the chat option if you have any questions. If you're not speaking, please I would advise that you put your devices on mute. If you wish to speak, you may use the raise hand option. For better meeting experience, I encourage you to probably use your headphones, but if you don't have any, you can use your use your computer, mic and speaker. That should be fine. Video is optional, but if you wish to turn on your video, make sure you have an appropriate background before you do that. And let's make this session as interactive as possible. Pay attention, avoid distractions, and be present. Okay. All right. So here is the safety and agenda. So very quickly, I'll go through this. So this was supposed to last for 3 minutes. Okay, so but I guess we'll spend like 6 minutes. So I'll just rush this. For ergonomics, let's maintain good posture, for the duration of this meeting. So time allotted for this session is actually 1 hour. Okay, so let's make good use of it. Ensure make sure there are no electrical, exposed cables or trip, slip and fall hazards around you in case you need to leave your seat or use the restroom. Make sure your exits are free of obstruction. In the unlikely event of any emergency, and then stay hydrated. You may want to have a glass of juice or water in front of you for the duration of this meeting. So for the agenda, the welcome and safety, that's what I'm doing. As I earlier mentioned, I'll be facilitating this session. Very shortly, I'll be calling on Engineer Obu to give us his opening remark. This is a maiden session, so and he has made this possible, thanks to him and also Captain Sobajo. So he'll be giving us his opening remark, and then later I'll be sharing a survey, a link to a spreadsheet where we'll collect data, and I will treat it as confidential. So we encourage everyone to kind of volunteer. So because we hope to sustain this, so we'll need the engineers, especially experienced ones, to kind of help us in, addressing some of the questions or doubts the young engineers might have. Introduction will be taken by Engineer Menyaga. Then later we'll talk about oil, and then later generators, alternators and all that. If you have any questions, that will be directed to Engineer Obi. And then we'll have other discussions, any other business, things to move this forum or online session, forward. And we'll take the closing remark by our very own captain. So at this point, without wasting too much of our time further, let me invite Engineer Obu to give us his opening remarks. Engineer Obu, please, you have the floor.
Good evening, everyone. It is an exciting day for me. I am particularly honored and humbled that we can finally get this off the ground. I will say that with someone who has, for someone who has an engineering background, who is working differently from Amano, I believe that this program offers us an opportunity to give back. There are many things we're talking about: cabotage, sustainability, competence, and all of that. Where do we fit in all of these? In the global market, everything is about competition. As a businessman currently, you want to hire the best competent hands. And for us as engineers, it's time to give back. That's what I believe. And I want to thank everyone who is giving back. The program has been running with the DEC CoC class, and I've been really, really blessed to have the support of the captains, Captain Shobajo and his group, all supporting and training. And today we are especially privileged to have Officers OBCC and Officer Hiosu and Officer Illeka, who is kicking this off. As Amano in Europe, we want to not just facilitate these things, but see how we can sponsor the developmental aspirations of the next group of engineers. I had several leg ups. I think, like the rest of you, it's time to give someone a leg up. The best time to plant a tree 20 years ago. The next best time to plant that tree is now. And we are planting some good trees for the future. Let's help each other. A candle does not go dark because it lights another candle. And I believe that we're going to light a lot of candles just doing this. It's easy to talk and say, oh, Indians are taking our jobs in like Nigeria and everything. If we're competent, we have the right attitude, and we're trained up, and we're supportive of each other, we will compete in the workplace. And that's what I'm going to say. Let's compete, let's support each other, let's be the best, because it's what and who we are. Thank you to all the young engineers. Thank you to all the senior engineers as well, who are going to be passing on their experiences and their insight and guiding on these young ones. Let's not forget, when the cow is eating and grazing, the young calf walks. And that's how we have milk and suya and the rest of it. Yeah. So let's not take much more of your time. Thank you. And let's get this started. We're all behind it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, for those, inspiring comments. We'll, at this point, I think on the agenda we have, okay, so we're going to take attendance and survey. So I'm going to be sharing a link to the form. Okay, so if you could just click on that link and, complete as appropriate. As I mentioned earlier, we'd like to get more, presenters and instructors for the subsequent sessions. Okay, so I guess we can be doing that while I invite Engineer Menyaga to share some tips on how to survive in this industry. Engineer Menyaga, please, you have the floor.
Oh, good evening, everyone. I honestly am honored to just be on this platform with everybody here. Yes, I had no idea this kind of a forum was put up. So Sam called me just a few days ago and said, look, there was something like this that was being put together, and that you guys have been doing that at the background, that you were taking it a step ahead. And I said, oh, if there is such a thing, yes, young engineers are coming up. We need people to take over from us because we are never going to be there forever. So, well, the point is this. Engineer Obu had already talked about what the industry is requiring of engineers today. If you want to be competitive, if you want to be relevant in the industry, you simply need to up your game. You just must be good. But that's not all. Just being good on the job is not enough. Your character, how you carry yourself, how you look at the career you have chosen. And we all know that this is an honorable career we have all chosen. I started mine long way behind. Well, for those whose background is from, those who are coming from Oron, I happen to be the second set of cadets that began the journey. And there's so much I can tell you about that. Time will not permit on this forum right now. The point is this. If you look at the industry today, oil and gas industry, you go to government maritime institutions, not just here, even down to IMO, we have representations. We have our own representing us there. Now, how did this all happen? It just didn't happen like that. It didn't come in a flash. It was through hard work, through sacrifice, through perseverance, tolerance, even the challenges that we faced along the way. Yes, they were all daunting. But today, here and there, we can beat our chest and say, look, we have our own at IMO. We have our own at many of our guys at Nimasa. We are just everywhere. And so, but these people are not going to continue forever. We need people to continue to take over from them. And the only way we can do that is to groom the people that are coming from the young people like you. So it's interesting that we have this forum where we can share our ideas, our experiences. Yes, choosing a career as a marine engineer is not an easy thing because it's a tough one. It's really a tough one. Yeah. So the cadetship thing, you will need a sea time. After the sea time, you also need to go for your CoCs and all that. And that is, I believe, is the essence. That is the reason this platform is created, so we can share ideas. Okay, when questions come, if you are facing examiners, what are you expected to do? How are you supposed to comport yourself? How are you supposed to answer questions? There are techniques. You may be the most intelligent guy But if you don't apply certain techniques, you probably won't sail through. But my wish for everybody is that, okay, we get to know these techniques and we're able to pass our exams well. And yes, Engineer Obu talked about foreigners coming to take up our jobs. If you are qualified, it does not hide. It doesn't hide. But here and there, yes, in the industries here, we see a lot of people, their attitudes are not right. So we have to also work on that attitude, because 70% of your knowledge as an engineer, yeah, okay, maybe 60% for the knowledge that you have and the experience. But if you haven't got the right attitude, I'm sure many employers will not want you in there. You may just come in, they watch your attitude, and that will be it. They say, okay, this guy, we cannot keep him because of his attitude. Oh, brilliant engineer. So I am delighted, honestly, to be in your midst tonight. And Sam, we are in touch all of the time. So if anything like this is coming up again, I don't mind all the time, joining you just to share our experiences. If there are questions that will require our answers, where we have concerns, where we have gray areas, where we think, okay, our experience from wherever may help candidates who are, trying to go in for their examinations. We are willing to even talk to colleagues here and there to know and get the facts so we can pass it on to you people, to such a person, I mean. So I think this is a good one. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for those, comments, tips, and your experiences that you've shared to go a long way, in helping not just the young engineers, but for some of us who are still, in the business. So thank you so much. So the next item on the agenda is, I think we'll be inviting Engineer Briggs to. I think I would use tips all the time to share some tips on marine engines, lubricating oils. So without wasting much time, Briggs, you have the floor. Please go ahead.
Good evening, guys. My name is Briggs. I'm a marine engineer, and basically I've gone through all the processes of obtaining a certificate of competency. So I'm here today to just put on the slides. Wherever my network is having problem, Obi will continue from there. Okay. I'm sure he knows what I'm talking about. So
Obi, we don't mean to put you on the hot seat today, so
first of all,
just bear with us. All right.
So first of all, we're talking about lubricating oil. Okay. In our vessels, we all use lubricating oil for our engines. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Hello, can you?
Yeah, Engineer Briggs, loud and clear, we can hear you.
Okay. So first of all, we're talking about oil. What are the type of oils that we use on board our vessels? Basically, we have mineral oil and synthetic oil. Mineral oils are generally oils that are obtained from petroleum products, while synthetic oils are oils that are manufactured in the lab. And we also have a third kind of oil called blended oil. These are mineral oils that are treated with additives to mimic a kind of synthetic oil. So it has a better quality than mineral oil, but it's not mineral oil, it's not synthetic oil. But on board your vessels, most times we use the type of oil we use are synthetic oils. So just in case you are in an interview or ask you, what type of oil do you use on board your vessel? Normally, we use synthetic oil. And this is the oil that is manufactured that your engine needs. So they manufacture this oil to meet those parameters. So we'll go to the next one. The second question is, what are the properties of lubricating oil? Can you hear me, please? Somebody should say something. Let me understand that you're hearing me.
Yes, you're.
Can you continue with it? I'm really having a very bad network, please.
No problem, no problem. Well, good evening, everyone. Am I loud and clear?
Loud and clear, sir.
Am I loud and clear? No.
You're loud and clear, sir.
Engineer Briggs was trying to talk about lubricating oil. I think he on the screen there, he has highlighted the properties of lubricating oil. And I think for OOEW, if you join a vessel, I'm going to go on the practical aspect of it. The concern for an OOEW, I'm not going to bother anybody with the rhetoric. So if you join a vessel as an OOEW during your cadetships, probably you have lube oil charts. Every vessel has a lube oil chart. So in one way or the other, as a cadet, you will be following or joining the third engineer or second engineer to probably top up any of the machinery's lube oil. And you should know that most of the lube oil used for medium speed engine, most of the lube oil is SAE 40, which will be indicated by the lube oil chart. I think that's the basic concern. And also, you try to, when you are making an order, maybe probably as an engineer on a vessel, if you are requesting for maybe a lube oil is finished on the vessel, or maybe there is a voyage planning for the vessel to go from one point to another, and you go to your engine room, you are working with the chief engineer, and you went to sound the lube oil tank, and you discover that the vessel is low on lube oil. So the next thing the ship will ask you is to get me the specification of the lube oil we have on board, which will be sent to the company ashore to get the lube oil required. And normally, another thing I want to talk about lubricating oil is most engines, okay? Most engines, when you are running most engines, you need to run the pre-lubricating pump. I've had one vessel that got damaged, bearing wiped, because the engineer on duty did not take note that the lube oil pump was actually running. At the end of the day, the lube oil pump kaput. That's bad, because the discharge valve was blocked. The valve was not flowing properly. So at the end of the day, the engine ran on low lube oil, maybe. And this vessel particularly was a vessel that most of the automations are not working. So something that should tell him that low lube oil alarm, I think, yes, they ran the vessel, and at the end of the day, they got the main engine damaged. And as I speak to you now, the engine is presently undergoing overhauling. So your lube oil, your lubricating oil pump is very, very important. Pre-lube oil pump, which you have to start first when you are starting the main engine. Even the normal generators, you have to run them for a while, and you have to check your lube oil before you start them. It's part of the pre-checks on board the vessel. And For bigger engines too, you have to post lubricating pump. You have to run the lube oil after stopping the main engine for some time too. So, and from time to time, you also have to take your lube oil sample. Sampling of lube oil is going to, which will be sent ashore for analysis. Concern there is that he is going to tell you how healthy your bearings are and probably your gears, your meshing parts. It's going to tell you whether one of them have been rubbing off. So, and when this lube oil sample is sent ashore, when it is come back, a lot of analysis will be drawn from it, which may probably tell you the condition of your inner engines. And at the end of the day, a lot of things will be learned by the OEW. Another thing again we have to draw from lubricating oil is the condition of the lube oil. Probably some lube oil, some engines, bigger engines, that uses lube oil purification. Your purifier, you have to make sure your lube oil purifier is running. For those that are running dry sump lubricating oil system, so after the lube oil is taken to any tank where it has to be taken by the purifier, so you make sure your purifier condition is okay. And I think basically lubricating oil, what we do is we take samples from time to time, apart from checking the physical condition, maybe carrying out a viscosity test. Those are the quicker tests. Then physical testing, rubbing with your hands, checking the condition of the oil. Then the next one, which we normally do on board, is viscosity test using a viscosity test device. And the local way we do is by just allowing both, maybe you take a fresh sample, take the old sample, you put them on, you tilt the two, takes the fresh one against the old one. With that, you can check you can know your lube oil viscosity, how viscous it is, which is one of the properties of the lubricating oil. So I think Engineer Briggs, from what you are sharing here, microbial attack on lubricating oil is also very important. If you allow your lube oil, most especially water, as a result of condensation in your tank, if your purifier is not working properly, you might have a microbial attack. And most times when you carry out tests, it's going to, most of these tests will show you that it will probably, and we also have an equipment which we use in taking the culture test to see how microbial attack has affected our lube oil. Then I also have how do you maintain your lubricating oil properties? And like I said, analysis, additives are also added, lube oil top up, which you normally do before you start up any equipment. You have to check your lube oil. There is always a place on all the machineries where you have to take the level of your lube oil. This is not joke. I've seen many cadets, I ask them, show me where you can sound the level of the lube oil tank. And he's going around and he couldn't even tell me, but at the end of the day, we'll show them where it is. So what you do, once you join a vessel as a cadet or as an OEW, where I will be mentioning cadet is, as a cadet, your first license is going to be OEW. So when it's either you are a cadet or you are an OEW, when you join a vessel, you have to know where you sound your lube oil for all your machineries. And also lube oil treatment. Treatment is by way of using purifiers. So the next one, Engineer Briggs, you can take up your slide. I'm looking at the types of lubrication, hydrodynamic lubrication. and hydrostatic lubrication. Hydrodynamic lubrication. Hydrodynamic.
I can help out.
You can come again.
I can help out.
Captain Tobago? Yeah, you want to?
No, Engineer Wu wants to help out.
Okay, I leave my organ to help me out in this case. Then if I have any other thing to say, I can contribute.
Thank
you,
Oga,
sir. Over to you.
Okay. I would want to break down, going back to Engineer Briggs mentioning SAE 40. Okay, because we want to get you ready or get guys ready for exams. So he was talking about base numbers, and we've mentioned additives. The additives are the bits we add in to increase or decrease those base numbers between 40 and 70, really. For someone preparing to do your first engineering certificate or OW, the examiner will want to know that you understand the functions of lubrication. I know the slide is going towards the types of lubrication. So he wants you to know that you understand that the lubricants, they act and do for different things. They act as sealants. Because parts are rubbing together, which is what Engineer B was saying, if you lubricate it, you reduce the noise that comes off from those rubbing parts and dampen the noise that the engine would otherwise produce, and thereby elongating the life of the engine. The examiner wants you to understand this. And then other things they do, they remove particles from those meshing parts, which Engineer Obi mentioned. So, and remove contaminants. So bear that in mind, that it's about understanding the purpose of the lubrication for your exams. The applications as per engine room functionality or engine coming in, you will learn on the job, which is what Engineer B is describing. And we go back in to more technical, which is what's on the slide, the types of lubrication on the sheet. Okay. You will need to read this in more detail, yeah? But when we use these technical terms or hydrodynamic lubrication, it just means that, yeah, it's lubricated to the full, yeah, or what they call full firm lubrication, yeah. And if it's not full firm, it will be boundary or boundary lubrication, thin film lubrication, or they will use another confusing word, hydrostatic lubrication, which basically is if it's not thin film, it's thick film. Yeah? So we are using different forms, going back to those base numbers. We know Engineer Briggs mentioned SAE 40, and Engineer Obi mentioned viscosity. So for the different types of oils or the lubricants, as I want to rightfully call them, those come into play. I just was hoping that breaking it down will bring a little bit more understanding. I spent many years teaching, so I just couldn't hold myself that much. So I bumped in, and I'm really, really sorry. Yeah.
Totally fine, sir. You know, that was really, really helpful. Really helpful. Yeah. And that's the essence, you know, one of the aims of this session, really, to kind of break things down to enable the, you know, cadets, young engineers, even experienced engineers, so to understand some of the, you know, the basics. So lubrication, as I know, if you combine two metals, you know, together, heat, noise will be produced, surfaces will rub together. Or if you introduce another medium, a liquid medium, oil, it kind of takes a space in between those two materials, two metals in this case, thereby, as Engineer Boo mentioned, thereby reducing the noise and also the wear and tear, taking away the friction. Or maybe not taking away, but reduces friction, then preserving the machinery. Okay. So Briggs, we don't mean to take over your slot. We apologize again. I know the network hasn't been, really good. So, but thanks, Engineer B. Thanks, Engineer Wu, for those contributions. Engineer B, please, you have the floor. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hear me? Am I loud and clear?
Loud and clear, sir, we can hear you.
So I'm here my name is Engineer Obi Cornelius Chukwu. I'm an ex-cadet of Maritime Academy of Nigeria. I'm a British trained marine engineer. I work in Nigeria. I currently live in Lagos. So later I'm going to send my email in case any of these upcoming engineers have any doubts. You can as well send me an email. So the topic I'm here to discuss today is about generators, basically synchronizing or paralleling of generators. Because over the course of my years as a practicing marine engineer, I've come to realize a lot of people have issues with that, basically the OOWs, OOEW. So most of them I wish I have taught over the course of my practice. So I just want to break paralleling of generators, very simple, this evening, so that wherever you are on board, at school, preparing for orals, whatever you are doing, just let's go through it. So we all know as engineers, marine engineers, that generators are very, very vital on board the ship, ranging from emergency generator to bigger generators. You could have, maybe depending, whatever the prime mover is, the alternator, the synchronizing is the same. Your prime mover could be any make, but at the end of the day, the switchboard, the alternators will be parallel or synchronized at the switchboard, which is a marine switchboard, MSB. So let's go. I don't have any slide to share. I didn't prepare, I've been busy, but I still say, since this is going to be the maiden class, I say, let me make myself available. As we go, we're going to be progressing. First time, we always have issues, but maybe by the time we do second time, third time, we'll iron out things and it's going to go well subsequently. So, in paralleling generators, there are 4 basic items that are very important. On your switchboard, which you, as an OOEW, you have to look at is, number 1, is phase sequence matching. Number 1, I repeat, phase sequence matching. Generators, when you have, basically, I want to say, we are always having, for us to parallel 2 generators, we have one online. The one that is running is regarded as online or running generators. Then the one that is to be synchronized to the switchboard to share the load is the incoming generator. So I'm going to be saying online and incoming generators. So if you have online generator, for instance, for you to put on your bar thruster, you need more than 1 generators. So you are asked to start second generator to put on the bar thruster. So you look at your switchboard, you do your pre-checks. You go to the engine room physically on your generator, you check around. If your generator is in good condition, definitely it should be in good condition. So after carrying out all your pre-checks before you start your generator, you start the generator. You can start locally, you can start remotely. So after starting your generator, you watch your generator to make sure it runs up to speed. If you are in the local, you switch to remote, then you come to your MSB, which is in your ECR, engine control room. So if you come to your ECR, you look out for your, hello, am I clear? Yeah.
Very clear, very clear.
You look out for your, now you are on remote, you are controlling the incoming generator remotely. So the next thing is you check out for your voltage. Your online voltage should be the same with incoming voltage. For some generators, you may have to tune them to bring it to the same value. But for some generators, that has already been taken care of by the AVR. So if your AVR is not every generator that you have to tamper with your voltage adjuster. If you have a voltage adjuster, fine. But if you don't have, your AVR is already doing it. And once you have your 440, I'm going to be using 440 volts, 440 and 50 Hz. So if you have 440, your online is 440, your incoming is 440, then you are good. Then you go to the next one, which is the frequency. Frequency of a generator, which is indicated, the voltage is indicated by a voltmeter. Then the frequency of a generator is indicated by the frequency. This has to do with the speed of the generator. And most times we control them or adjust them by the speed control or the governor. If you have more load, you put in more fuel, the governor responds, and you have to bring your frequency to 50 Hz. That is, if your online frequency is 50 Hz, you bring your running incoming to 50 Hz. That is number 2 is being taken care of. Then the third one, which is the phase angle. Phase angle, which the only way you can take care of that is using your synchroscope. Your synchroscope, you have to switch on your synchroscope. You can have the lamp type, you can have the synchroscope type or the lamp type. I'm going to make emphasis because most vessels these days are using the synchroscope type. You hardly find the lamp type these days, but some people do have them. So now your synchroscope, you have, depending if you are having 4 generators, you have switch for 1, 2 to 4. So now, number 1 is online, I'm bringing in number 2. I switch my synchroscope to number 2. That is, I want to bring number 2 to the switchboard. The moment you switch it on to number 2, then your synchroscope starts dancing around. You have clockwise and anti-clockwise. If you are running clockwise, if you are running clockwise, if it is too fast, you have to decrease the speed of your incoming generator. If it is running too slow, normally we expect it to run too slow, and we are expecting that once it is 5 degrees to 12 o'clock, we close the number 2 switch main breaker to bring it online. So depending on, you have to adjust it to make sure you get a speed that is relatively slow, so that the moment you are 5 degrees to 12, you close number 2 breaker. The moment you close number 2 breaker, number 2 generator comes online. Then you switch the synchroscope off. You put it off back. Then now you are now trying to share the load, both generators, because you go to your to your watt meter of your number one, which is like, for instance, you have 80 kilowatts. Then your watt meter for incoming number two is 0. Then the next thing now, you are going to use your governor control, which is still the speed control tool. You start increasing number two, you start reducing number one. When you have 40 kilowatts, then you have succeeded in sharing the two loads. Then if your generator has a power management system, you don't have to stress yourself for this. All you need to do, put all the generators on auto. Yeah, put all the generators on auto, then anyone, number two will come on, will synchronize, balance itself, even your power factor will be taken care of. So at the end of the day, the last one, which is the phase sequence matching. Phase sequence matching is normally inbuilt. Is inbuilt by the manufacturer. That is by the OEM of the generator builders. So another thing again, I'm going to discuss some problems, some challenges you may have. When you are synchronizing, you don't need to hurry. You need to take your time and look out at your parameters. Your parameters are very important. You don't need to rush. If you have a senior officer, you go through it. I've taken a lot of people through them. So, and if you have questions, and if you don't know how to do it, don't do it. Make sure you are taking through it before you do it, because you may end up bringing the vessel to blackout. And if blackout, most chief engineers don't like it, except you are doing maybe you are doing a blackout test. So I think that is all I can say for now. And if you have some challenges, if your voltage are not matching each other, you can put the generator, you can bring it to reverse voltage. Most especially if you are taking, and I think another thing I need to tell the OOEWs is also taking the generator, taking the number two out of line. The same thing, if you are doing it manually, you bring the number two, you start reducing number two, you start increasing number one to take over that 80 kilowatts. So once the number two goes very low, around maybe 10 kilowatts, you take out the breaker. Once you take out the breaker, number one takes over the load. And for those that have planned power management system on their vessels, they don't need to worry. You just allow your power management system to do the magic. I think that is all I have to say. Maybe for any questions on this, refer to me. Any suggestion, contribution is also welcome from my fellow engineers. Thank you very much. I am Obi Cornelius Chuku. Thanks very much for listening.
Thank you, Engineer Obi. Thank you so much. So that's the sub for you, the sub. Okay, all right. So I just want to add for synchronizing and paralleling generators. For examiners, I think they will be interested in the manual aspect of it. Okay, so I know these days there are auto systems where you just push a button and the switchboard will do everything for you. So, but if you go with that mindset to face your examiner, you probably fail. So you need to understand the basics, what's going on behind those switchboards. So as Engineer Obi mentioned, so you need to match all the parameters, the voltage, frequency, the phase, okay, whether it's the lamp type or the synchroscope. So make sure you have that correctly before you close that breaker, because if you don't do it right, it probably cause blackout or even reverse power. So so that's just an addition. Okay. Thank you so much, Engineer Obi. All right, Engineer Briggs, are you ready for us now?
I'm sorry, Dr. Illeka, someone has a question. AJB.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's on the chart. He dropped it on the chart.
Okay, so the question is, please, is the governor knob also known as the potentiometer? Engineer, you want to answer that?
Yes, I want to say something about the. Is it potentiometer? You use it in a lot of control mechanism on the ship. I know it's just it's a variable resistors. If the control system, there are other means, but on the switchboard, the back end could be a potentiometer, but what you have on the switchboard is either speed control or governor control. I think the potentiometer aspect is just like it's a variable resistors, which can be used to achieve a governor control. I think I don't know if I have answered Ezeibe Kingsley's question.
Okay, so sorry, let me check. Is it Ezeibe or?
It's Ezeibe Kingsley.
Okay, Ezeibe Kingsley, yeah. So you may use the raise hand option or the thumbs up or anything, you know. So if your question is answered correctly. I see Briggs is coming back and is obviously having some network issues. So let's give him a few seconds or minutes. Do we have any other questions for Engineer B? Okay, there's another question.
There's another question.
Yeah, so what prevents the standby generator from accidentally connecting to the switchboard?
Yeah, I think, okay, let me just say something. When you say the word accidentally, that means most of these do happen when you have the PMS system. If you have the PMS system, your generator can, maybe when the online generator can no longer handle maybe so many loads are coming on, your standby generator could accidentally come on. But what could prevent the standby? What could prevent is if the knob from manual to auto is not, if the knob is not on auto, that could prevent it from coming on. Or also if the generator is not running up to at least all the conditions, all those three conditions that I have highlighted here, if any of them is not met, the generator will not come online. But basically, what prevents it from accidentally coming on board is if the knob is not on auto. If the knob is not on auto, it could prevent it from coming on. I don't know if I've answered the question from Ayo. And I will also want Ayo. Okay, said the generator that is not running. I mean, yes, the generator that is not running is supposed to be on standby. And if it is on standby, means if it is PMS, it means that anytime the switchboard sensing that the load on it can no longer be handled by one generator, the second one or maybe two or three will come online automatically. They will come online automatically. So what could prevent them from doing that if the knob is not switched to auto? If it is not on auto position, definitely the control will be searching for that generator. And also if you have if the control on the local panel is not also on remote position, definitely that generator cannot come online.
The floor is open for question and answers, but I must warn you, especially for the young engineers, this this session, we just wanted to start this session. Okay, so I have a manager, where I work currently, that said a plan that is, violently, executed now is better than, a plan, something you are planning for next week. So if you execute it now, it's better than just saying that you are planning. So, and that is what we've done. I spoke to OB on, very short notice, Briggs, Engineer Menyaga, to get this thing started. And obviously you can see we're kind of struggling, but it's fine. It's totally okay. I guess with time, as OB mentioned, with time, we're going to make it better. And with the link I shared, the survey, will make it more specific. I know we have some people on this call that are, professors, in engineering. So, so with the right preparation, in the next session, we will probably eliminate some of these, hiccups, issues we're having. So please bear with us, okay? So I have a chat here. Great job. Okay, thanks, Engineer Israel. Okay, good. So any questions, comments at this point before we take the closing comments? All right. So before we take the closing comments, closing remark from Captain Tayo, he has, we're really thankful, to you and Engineer Mbu. You guys made this thing possible. Yeah, so thank you so much. But let me just go around the room, if you may allow me. I know we've spent 6 minutes past, the allotted time, but let me just recognize some, important individuals, on this call. Okay, not trying to say that we're not all important, but I can see some great engineers on this call. Engineer Alayande is here. You're welcome, sir. Engineer Israel, you're welcome. We throw a salute, so we're hoping that, in subsequent sessions, we'll have you, present one or two things to us. Engineer Don is here. I can see you. Captain Busayo, you're welcome. Thank you so much for joining. And I forgot to mention, in fact, we'll probably bring in, our expert captains also to share some, topics. You agree with me that there are some, some areas or topics that kind of cut across the two departments, deck and engine, things like maybe pollution, SOPEP and all that. So it can crop up during the engineer orals as well as, the deck orals. So maybe with time, we'll probably invite, guest speakers, from the deck department, get some, some comments, some experience from them as well. I guess that would be it. So let's now invite Captain Sovajo, a very great captain, to to give us a closing comment.
Thank you very much. I thought you were going to say troublemaker, but anyway, thanks to everybody for being here. All protocol and everyone greets observed. I'm personally honored to witness this class today. As a lot of people might notice, it was just like a joke when we started the deck. I was in an online interview on Instagram, and somebody said I should come to start lecturing classes, and I was like, I can't do that, but we can do something online. And so it put me on a challenge, and I said, okay, we're going to start something next week. I didn't have a plan for it as well. And that class is now, I think, 3-4 months old. Captain Busayo solidly behind us, and we have some of the videos online. And this one as well, I think I deserve some some people push in and say, let's do something for the engineers. And a female engineer contacted me as well and said, I said, okay, let's try. And thanks to Officer Illeka for the push. So for me, I had the opportunity of getting sponsorship for my OW from Briggs Worldwide. And to date, I feel it's just about all time and chance, to be honest, because there are a lot of more brilliant and people that could have had that opportunity. So I've never had it as a chip on my shoulder to say I feel I'm more important, not at all. Have an exchange of knowledge for those that have the opportunity to have, what I've had, and those that don't, let's rub the knowledge. And so we can build a global and local economy. I think it's also our responsibility to train our people so that we can have competent hands to send on errands in future. Engr Menyaga, I think, mentioned something about, they cannot be there forever. I see that the crewing officers now trying to employ Nigerian Elon Musk, the people that they did not train. Now there's a global pandemic. So if we have trained people, then we will have them. And if we don't train them, then we don't have them. No good chief engineer or captain can be on two ships at the same time. So I think it's important that we share this knowledge with people. And we make ourselves proud, make our family proud, make our country proud. One company has said they'll be giving Nigerian flags to all our students. So at least that will make us have our country proud. I think it's a matter of paying it forward. It's a matter of having this mentorship. They have this in different countries where people just give their time. So I'm really grateful to the leadership from Officer Ubu and the Amano Europe for this. Is really supporting us, and the organization has been supporting. I'm grateful for Officer Illeka for this as well. And thanks for dragging me in. I took notes, to be honest. I'm really serious. I would share. If you think I'm joking, I took some notes about the generators and all that. Let me put that on the wall so that at least people will know I actually took some notes. And thanks to everybody that has been here also. So I'm really, really grateful, and I'm really, really excited. You can't believe it. So those are part of the notes that I took. I've shared it on there, so that you know that I actually took some. If it's not so correct, please apologies. I apologize. Yeah. So thanks very much. Thank you. Officer BCC, I should mention your name. Thank you. Officer Lion, thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So on this note, I'd like to thank everyone on this call. This was really, insightful. Great job, guys. So we hope to have this session again, hopefully in another 2 weeks, I guess. And I assure you to be better than this one. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Engineer Blue. Thanks, Engineer B, Briggs, Engineer Lion Day, Engineer Israel. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. To toast to all those new CoCs that will be awarded.
Cheers.
Bye, and see you next week or next 2 weeks.
Thank you, sir.